Did a little warm up on Puzzle Rush before I logged in. Just did a 5 minute session. Really helped me to just just warm up. I mean, like you would if you were playing a sport, right? You wouldn't play basketball without getting warm, without stretching, without practicing some free throws. Same thing on the chessboard. So it's something I always try to do. All right, so we got a Queen's Gambit declined exchange variation. I really like this way. I really like to play this way with white. It's a really nice way to get a solid edge out of the opening, and the strategic ideas for white are just really clear. As you guys know, I play the Queen's Gambit declined a lot with black, and I would say the exchange variation is probably the most annoying line to face. So depending on how black sets up, I might go for the rook b1, b4 minority attack, or I might put the knight on e2. So when black plays the bishop to e6, I really like going for this knight ge2 line. Especially if black flicks in an h6, you bring a knight to f4 and take on e6. Black can have some really really weak dark squares. Now, as I recall, when black plays knight b6, sometimes that signals an intention to castle on the queen side. I'm gonna keep things simple here. No disrespect to my opponent, Chubo Chubo from Indonesia, but I am playing down in this game, so I just want to keep things nice and simple. Okay, Chubo Chubo exchanges dark square bishops. That's a really good idea in the Queen's Gambit decline for black, mainly just to give this queen a score. Now, I don't know about my minority attack here because of this knight. This knight, if I go b4, this knight's just ready to hop in. So maybe it's best in this position to kind of pivot and go for the f3 e4 break. And I think I'm going to do that, especially with the queen on this line. Just looks a little annoying for black to deal with. The one downside about getting that bishop exchange is, very often black's going to have to spend another tempo getting this knight back to a good square. Okay. So we gotta watch playing e4 too soon because we don't want any problems on the f4 square. But we got this knight on e2, nicely defending that. So I actually think we can just move forward with our plan here. Okay, let's go for it. Really just trying to expand in the center. That's the idea with these f3 knight e2 lines. User Juicer, where are you from? Norway. Wow, welcome. Do you know Magnus Carlsen? I have to ask, I know. That's like asking me if I live in America, do I know Michael Jordan? No, I don't. I wish. Not really. Yeah, no worries. All right, so as discussed, black spends the tempo bringing the knight back. I am going e4 here. Let's see if black takes, giving me a massive center. So this line was, I think it was really developed by Botvinnik I believe he was the one that really put this line on the map. But it was also used, I think Kasparov used it too, perhaps in a world championship match against Karpov. I might be making that up. I don't think I am, though. It's a very aggressive way to play for white. But if you're going to play the exchange variation, I really recommend knowing and understanding both lines. The more positional line, where you're going rook a b1 and b4 b5 going for minority attack, and also this one where you go knight e2 f3 e4. It's nice to have that flexibility. Interesting. The knight just hops in here. Okay. Eyeing up this weak square. I really don't want to waste a lot of time. And I do have a potential issue on the dark squares here. So maybe I'm going to take with the idea of just getting a knight to d6. Let's see if we can make that happen. If knight g4, I'm just going to play queen e4, hitting that knight, getting the queen nice and active, getting her over to the king's side. Maybe I got some tactics going on with this hook. I've got an open F file. But really, I would love to get a position where... Yeah, so he looks to trade. I'm not... Well, okay, I got to watch out for this square, as discussed. So I could consider taking here. I could consider taking. Not sure if I want to do that, though. Just gotta watch this square here. Let's see what to do. Yeah, let's bring... Is queen e4 running into a move like f6? So I have to be worried about that. All right, you know what? I'm gonna take here. Not 100% sure about this move, but I really like the look of getting my knight active. Let's tickle the bishop. I've got this really nice central structure. Like, so it wouldn't even be out of the realm of possibility of taking on d5 and then just pivoting to, playing for c-file control and playing against this weak pawn in d5. Okay. So I don't think I want to take here, but I do want to get my queen nice and active. So let's play the move queen f5. If queen f5, bishop e6, hitting the pawn on d4, I do have queen f4. Let's do that. Oh, you've used your reducer. You've seen Magnus out and about once in a while. That's cool. Okay, so bishop e6 as expected. Let's just play in the dark squares here. I've got really good dark square play here. Okay, so looks like we got a double attack here. Did I miss that one? Am I okay just defending on d4 and then playing knight e4 with like a really big initiative? All right, I think it's most important to take here. This is a very dangerous pawn to take. Very dangerous. I wouldn't be surprised if my opponent takes it, though, okay? The queen is in Siberia right now. And I got this knight ready to just hop in and really potentially make some noise. It's not out of the realm of possibility for me in this position to play a move like knight f6. Maybe. Just try to blow up this king side, maybe take on h6 and do a rook left and just mate this dude. So I'm in full attack mode right now. I'm totally lost in an endgame, probably. You know, especially if he decides to take here. Okay. So got a little issue on g2, but that's actually pretty easy to defend with rook d2, I think. Just make sure I'm not missing. Yeah, I think rook d2 looks pretty nice. All right, let's play that. So I'm able to hold on to this queen side pawn, which is nice. So if I can get this type of initiative, especially if I land a knight on d6 in certain lines, maybe on f6, I think that's definitely worth it for me for one pawn. So welcome to everyone who is joining the channel again. Today is MVP day. At least that's what I've dubbed it, February 1st. This is the first day where we're really officially an affiliate, where we're able to take subs and do all that fun stuff that you guys have been waiting for. Okay. So the nice thing about playing the rook to d2 is that this knight is mobile, right? I can move it and preserve this piece without hanging the rook. So, man, do I play a move like knight f6? Man, that's tempting to play. That is such a tempting move to play. But it's so risky. He could just sidestep. That might be best. If knight d6, that's definitely an attractive move to play. What do I do after c5? Don't know. All right, you know what, man? This is MVP day. We're going knight f6. We're going to try to bring home the bacon in style. I just really like the look of this move. In combination with a queen taking here, maybe taking back with the pawn, a dark square disaster on g7, maybe a rook lift, something like that. It just seems like there's so many threats that because this queen is in Siberia on b4, like what the hell is it doing over there? Well, I'll tell you what it's doing over there. And when it got greedy and my opponent grabbed this pawn on b2, but he really needs the queen back in defense right now. I would not be surprised if my opponent sidesteps this with king h8. I think that's the critical move. I think it's basically suicidal to take this pawn. The more I look at to take the knight rather, the more I look at it. Vanavan, I see you in the chat. Welcome. Nice you made affiliate. Good. Well, Vanavan, this is the key. This is the key question in this position. Can he take this knight? I'm not going to claim that I've like calculated this to a winner or anything. I may have missed something, but it just looks so dangerous to take this knight because of these dark squares. This open F file and me being able to just get a rook to the G file Lickety split. Yeah, I don't think he can take this. So that's why I was saying Vanavan in this position, King H8 is probably best. Now Vanavan, don't forget, man, you're one of our first movers, so you're not going to want to miss your opportunity to get one of these founder sub badges. I think there are only 10 available, 9 now, because of course Will Ride for Bagels already grabbed one. Everyone says that a bishop's better than the knight, but knight can do more traps. The knight is a far trickier piece. And I really think the difference in strength... Wow, he took it. All right. Let's come here. Now, I could straight up be missing something here. Of course. But my next move is this, and then what the hell do you do about that? And my opponent, to try to figure out these calculations, is really falling behind on the clock. What I was saying, Vanavan, about bishops versus knights is I really think it depends a lot on the style of the player. Like Anand, from what I've read, not only from him but from other chess authors, really prefers knights over bishops. Bobby Fischer really preferred bishops over knights. You know, especially his light squared bishop, his king's bishop. So I think it depends. I think it depends on the player, but it's really up to you to make the most of your minor pieces, you know, based on the position, right? Like if you got the bishop, you know, it's up to you to open up the position and create open diagonals to maximize that piece. And if you have a knight, you know, it's often a good idea to try to keep the position more closed, where the knights hold more of an advantage. Jakku, you just hit 1600 after watching your videos up 100 elo. Boom. That's what I'm talking about, man. Okay. Now, the only thing I have to watch here after rook f5 is queen b1 check. Queen b1 check would be a disaster for me. So, let me take a quick detour here. Check. I'm just going to set up this rook lift a little bit better so that I have control over the f5 square. Because if I played rook f5 immediately, which was really tempting, he had this double attack. I could bring the rook back, but then I'm losing time, and I don't want that. All right, let's give another check. I mean, I could actually just flag this dude on the clock. I mean, this game is over. Just got to watch this rook too. So maybe what I do now, I won on time. So probably what I would have done in that position is the rook lift here. Rook d3, rook h3, checkmate. Boom. Will Ride for Bagels, flashing another one of our awesome sub badge. Oh, Jakku, subscribed at tier 1. Thank you so much for your support, man. You're up. It's past 1 a.m. in Australia, so it's hard to watch much of the stream live, but I'll come say hi when I can. Thanks for the great content. You're welcome, Jakku. And of course, you're always welcome to watch the stream on demand on Twitch. And of course, I always publish everything on YouTube. But we will look to do some streams at different times, especially for our fans in Australia. We actually have quite a few. So we'll definitely start doing some later streams so that it's more conducive to you to watch. All right, before we move on from this game, good game to my opponent, Chubo, by the way, from Indonesia. Let's send him a friend request. Hopefully he finds his way to Team MVP in the channel. Let me just do a quick game review. I have to see if knight f6 was a move. All right. We're at 90% accuracy, so that's a good sign. Oh my God, folks. Do you see that? Do you see that? Vanavan just subscribed to the tier 1. Thank you so much for your support. Hype train. And look at our move, knight f6. Double exclaim. Boom! Boom! All made possible, okay, really, because this queen just went... Look how well placed the queen is in this position, okay? To defend these dark squares, to prevent a crazy move like knight f6. But my opponent just got greedy, okay? I defended this is the important pawn, okay? If he's able to win the d4 pawn, then this queen sortie is totally justified. But grabbing on b2, I don't know. And notice in this position, just in case you were wondering, actually, can he capture? No. So what I would do in this position, if rook takes, I just have to move knight f6 in this position with a discovery winning the exchange. So that's not a thing. But yeah, in this position, it's all about these dark. We defend. We should definitely defend here, but it's really all about these dark squares, and this hook that was created on h6. You know, you really have to watch out for pawn moves like this in your position. They seem like inconsequential. You're like, oh, I'm making love for my king. I don't want a piece coming to g5, but if you make the incorrect minor piece exchanges, like my opponent did, right? My opponent in this position, he just has a light squared bishop. He has no control over the dark squares. This is how moves like this happen. So I'm really proud that we were able to find this idea, knight f6, double exclam. Awesome.